Hi, I'm Debbie Georgatos. Welcome to my show, America, Can We Talk? Today, we're going to talk about a Democrat convention reality check, Bernie Sanders versus John Kasich, Michelle Obama's empathy argument, and 2020 and the women's vote. And of course, I'll tell you why these stories matter to you. Stay tuned.
Debbie Georgatos, host of America Can We Talk, is an author, attorney, and political analyst whose mission is to inspire the American political conversation about preserving liberty in the best country on earth.
And hello again, and welcome to America Can We Talk, to today's First Five. I'm Debbie Georgatos. Some of you may have tuned into the Democrat convention last night. Not a traditional convention, not in person, just a bunch of people giving speeches, kind of like one of those endless Zoom meetings we've all been subjected to over the last several months. But I want to make two big reality check points before I dive in and talk about the different statements made at the convention. The one big reality point to start with is this. In this country, during the last 3+ years, when President Trump has been in office, duly elected and serving as president, we have had nonstop attack on him, as we talk about in the show many times, nonstop attack legally in terms of trying to impeach him, trying to falsely accusing him of Trump-Russia collusion, the whole Russia collusion hoax thing, numerous story after story, article after article, argument after article of leftists in this country, whether they are elected officials or in the media, claiming that somehow he's not the legitimate president. The point of this is the Democrat media mob in this country has stirred up anger among the American people, stirred up ignorant voters who don't understand, don't recognize what the left is up to, what the Democrats are doing. So that the media, the Democrat media mob, spent 3.5 years attacking, maligning, questioning the president at every step of the way. And of course, when they do this, there's a certain segment of the American population that gets themselves all worked up because they buy into what they're hearing. They don't have a filter that allows them to examine the broader base of evidence, examine the truth on these issues. They just get stirred up by the left. And so when they get stirred up and they're angry, and then the media reports on the toxic political environment and America greatly divided, understand the Democrat media mob, the Democrat Party, and their willing cohorts in left-wing media deliberately created the environment of chaos and division. Donald Trump did not create chaos and division. The chaos and division was created by the left. Donald Trump supporters, Donald Trump voters voted for him because they wanted the changes he is making. They actually wanted a secure border. They wanted to stop having our country overrun with illegal aliens. They wanted the president to protect America from, at the time, especially when he came in 2016, the influx of people who were potentially dangerous terrorists coming to this country. They wanted a president to help restore the economy, to bring back jobs to America. And even deeper than that, they wanted to have a president who would restore the idea that America is a good and noble country. They wanted a president to say, yes, America is a good country. The American people are good people. America first is the right priority, just as it should be the priority for the leader of every other country in this world. The job of the leader of that country is to look out for the interests of their people. People chose Donald Trump because they recognized in the previous 8 years under President Obama, there had been an abandonment of the concept of American identity, American goodness, American greatness, American sovereignty. And so the left is creating the chaos because they don't like the direction that President Trump is taking this country. President Trump's followers still support him. They wanted him to make not just the policy changes, but the change in terms of restoring love for, reverence for the idea of America, a sovereign country. That's why he got elected. So President Trump is not creating the division. The left is creating the division and then reporting on it. The media, wildly complicit in creating this division and chaos, then reports on the American populace as being divided and being, in the midst of horrible, toxic, horrible environment, which they created. They create the chaos and then report on the chaos as though Donald Trump caused it. They caused it by their reaction to Donald Trump. They, the American left, the anti-American left, the radical Democrat side of this country, the Democrat media mob, created the chaos, and then they report on it. And then, as you'll hear in just a few moments, they come to the convention of 2020 trying to say, look what a mess this country is in. This is terrible. You vote our way because look at the mess. Not acknowledging they created the mess. They created the mess. Very, very, very important as a big picture reality check on the 2020 election. The second big point in today's first five related to the 2020 Democrat convention, which is ongoing right now in a bizarre format. But the second point of it is to really ask yourself, as Ronald Reagan did years ago, are you better off now than 4 years ago? Just picture what happened during 8 years of President Obama. Just think of a few things that happened. The media was happy. The media would never report anything negative about him. They wouldn't even report the truth about things he did, things his administration did. So the whole populace that is easily pushed around by the media during this time under President Trump was fed a steady diet of, isn't Barack Obama the greatest president ever? This is what the media fed America for 8 years. But do the reality check yourself. We entered into, you'll hear in excerpts I have in a moment, you have many of the people at the convention attacking President Trump on foreign policy. Just think about this. We actually lose track of this. During the 8 years under President Obama, he actually engaged in, signed on to the Iranian nuclear deal, which involved enabling the development within Iran of nuclear weapons while staring in the camera and saying to the American people, oh yeah, we're going to stop nuclear weapons in Iran, accomplishing exactly the opposite. We sent billions, B as in boy, billions of dollars in cash and pallets over to Iran, the number one terror exporting country in the world. If you didn't know that, Iran, number one terror exporting country in the world. Under President Obama, we fed the mullahs, as they were, if you don't remember this, during the negotiations, we sit down and pretend these are serious negotiations, and then the mullahs and other leaders in Iran are out in the streets on the weekends, and when we're not at the negotiating table, chanting death to America, death to Israel. That is the foreign policy of Barack Obama, enabling a terror exporting country of Iran to be more powerful, more able to use the billions of dollars that we send to them to fund more terrorism, death, and destruction. So you had, under President Obama, hardly a healthy foreign policy. Secondly, under the Obama administration, you had jobs leaving America. Now, it didn't start with him, to be fair. Didn't start with him, but President Obama famously announced to America, these are manufacturing jobs, they're going elsewhere, and in Obama's words, they're never coming back. You had President Obama perfectly fine with the idea that the heartland of America was not going to have jobs. They just couldn't have manufacturing, couldn't have jobs, but it's okay because along with allowing and never challenging the bad trade deals that America had that made this kind of thing happen, made the jobs go abroad because of the bad trade deals we had, you also had President Obama expanding the welfare state. So you had more and more people signing up for food stamps, more and more people becoming dependent on the federal government. Exactly what a leftist wants. Leftists thrive. They thrive on creating weakness and dependency within the people so that the people have no other place to turn, no other reasoning in their hearts than, I guess I better go back to the government and vote for these big government leftists who will give me more money in my food stamps next year. President Obama cultivated 8 years of growing dependency in this country. He also cultivated a massive federal bureaucracy growing in size, scope, and regulation, strangling out more and more businesses in this country. You had a massive expansion of regulations under President Obama, again, very much aligned with, very much in tune with the radical Marxist agenda, which is designed to take away that entrepreneurial spirit, to take away the strength of free markets and free people and businesses, and move that power away from the people and into the federal government. Massive federal bureaucracy just blossomed. That's not a good word to use because that sounds like a nice thing. It exploded under President Obama. You had dependency increasing, jobs leaving, foreign policy not favoring America, and you also had the unspoken underlying and endless messaging that America really was nothing special, the country was nothing special, the ideas of America are certainly nothing special, certainly not exceptional. America is just some other country in the globe, and treated that way both by the president in the as he led our country and the way we dealt with the world internationally. I could go on and on, but I want to, in this idea of talking about the Democrat convention today, remember what Obama was like for 8 years. Now look what President Trump did, and not even yet 4 years. We're at 3.5+ years of President Trump's presidency. Because of his courage, despite mockery and ridicule by the leftists, his courage to say, we're going to change our trade deals. We're going to make them fair to America again. We're going to stop being the kicking boy, the whipping boy, or the entity to be kicked to the ground all the time in our world negotiations and our American negotiations with countries around the world to make trade deals. Trump said, actually, we're going to have fair trade deals. We're going to enable jobs to come back. We're going to inspire countries to treat America fairly. We're going to stop agreeing to these aggressive and pointless and unuseful trade deals that had been the case during the past 8 years and before that, and restore America's place as a productive and manufacturing producing economy. You had a president under President Trump who had developed energy independence. Another whole thing I didn't get onto about Barack Obama's presidency: 8 years of maligning America's energy independence, 8 years of mocking fossil fuels, a vital thing for America to have energy independence, mocking, expanding all the climate change arguments that are falling apart right and left for anyone who actually pays attention. But President Trump came along and said, you know what, we're going to have energy independence. We made America an energy exporting country. So energy independence, jobs coming back. We had a restoration of the idea of America, the valuing of it, the concept that we are a sovereign nation, and we like it that way. We want to be a sovereign nation. We're not joining the global club that President Obama was trying to push America toward. And we had also a massive increase in employment numbers, fabulous numbers. President Trump, up until the time COVID hit our economy, you had President Trump touting best unemployment numbers in America's history for all sorts of subgroups, not just overall, but groups that traditionally, historically, have struggled in their employment statistics. President Trump would regularly share with us how we had a fabulous improvement in America's economy, lowest unemployment numbers in all sorts of groups in America. That's what came from the free market, pro-America, pro-capitalist, pro-freedom agenda of President Trump, contrasted with the 8 years under President Obama, pro-Marxist, pro-big government control, anti-free market, anti the bursting forth of an economy based on human freedom and energy and determination to have a country rooted in free markets, capitalism, and entrepreneurship. That is a stage you need to keep in mind before we go on to the next segment of our show today, which is to talk about just a few of the people who spoke at this remote Democrat convention last night. We're only going to talk about 3 of them, Bernie Sanders and John Kasich, and also talk about Michelle Obama. I'm going to get to little segments on each of those things, but I'll wrap up the first 5 today by saying this. The Democrats have been forever better at sending messages to the American people that are appealing in an emotional, irrational way, better at arguing that they are the people who care about the little guy, better at arguing that they're the ones who love the American people, and that's why they want to make everything free, and every single American person should have everything they need for free. All of the promises, the hollow, shallow, impossible promises spewing out of every Democrat for decades now were on display, of course, big time, full time, during this convention that started last night. But what really matters, people, it matters in this 2020 election, it matters that we understand the same ideas the Democrat Party is touting at this convention are the ideas that Hugo Chavez touted in Venezuela 20 years ago. Took that country from a booming economy, from an attractive place to go on vacation and to live, to the utter starvation, misery, and horror that is Venezuela today. The same arguments that Democrats make today in America are the arguments that you heard in Cuba. In Cuba, when you have Fidel Castro come to power, he didn't come to power running on a platform of, vote for me, I'll take all your money away, I'll make everything free, but I'll take all your money away and you'll never be allowed to leave again, I'm going to control you. He didn't run on that. He ran on exactly the promises that you're hearing out of the Democrats today in our country. Don't worry, our happy talk, smooth-tongued, very silky-sounding promises. Don't worry, everything can be free and everything can be harmonious and we can all just get along. Just give us all the power that you can. Give us all the power and don't worry, we'll take care of everything. And we Americans got to be smarter and better than the voters in Cuba, than the voters in Venezuela were when they got sucked into ruining their countries with Marxism, because that is what the left is selling in America today. And that, my very fine friends, is today's First Five. I want to turn and talk about what's happening at the convention. And I have a lot of clips. I want to just say, again, I always want to thank Matt, the wonderful producer, because I send him clips a little bit close to showtime. He's got to pull them all together. And I appreciate that. He always does it with a smile on his face, and he always has them ready. So I want to start, Matt, at this at the convention yesterday. As I mentioned, it's all remote. So you have, the convention is being conducted wherever people happen to be. But I want to start with, I sent Matt the Wonderful some clips of Michelle Obama. And before I launch into her, I'm just going to say this. Michelle Obama is lovely. She's very pretty. She has a very smooth voice. She has a very reassuring manner. She has a very warm and fuzzy. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm saying all this, I'm going to put off Michelle Obama to the next segment. I want to hit on Bernie Sanders and Kasich first. We'll come back to Michelle Obama. First, I want to hit on Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders obviously entered this race and was running for president and had to bow out. But Bernie Sanders started out this convention, and I sent Matt some clips. I want to have you play. This is Bernie Sanders, and this is, I think, I just have one clip from him. It's kind of a bunch of pieces I asked Matt to string together. This is Bernie Sanders last night at the Democrat convention.
Good evening. Our great nation is now living in an unprecedented moment. We're facing the worst public health crisis in 100 years and the worst economic collapse since the Great Depression. We are confronting systemic racism and the enormous threat to our planet of climate change. Let me take this opportunity to say a word to the millions of people who supported my campaign this year and in 2016. My friends, thank you for your trust, your support, and the love you showed Jane, me, and our family.